Welcome to the KZGN News. Today we'll bring you news from the City Council and today's KZGN Talking Points editorial.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyokern and China Lake, this is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News crew.
Hello, I'm Tom Whitnick. Thanks for joining us for the news affecting Ridgecrest and the Indian Wells Valley. Now here's a continuation of the agenda items on tomorrow's regular City Council meeting. In the news last night, I provided details on the first half of their agenda. Now here's the rest of the interesting items on tomorrow's agenda. The Council will hold public hearings to get public input on the following items. First, a public hearing and adopt a resolution of the Ridgecrest City Council adopting a mitigated negative declaration for the Ridgecrest Commercial Specific Plan for Offsite Improvements. This is also known as the Walmart Improvement Project. The City of Ridgecrest has been in the process of working with Walmart to bring a new Walmart Supercenter to this community for over a decade. This effort resulted in the development of a Ridgecrest specific plan, which was a qualified voter-sponsored initiative adopted without alterations by the City Council on February 3, 2010. This plan governs approximately 23.5 acres of vacant land at the southeast corner of South China Lake Boulevard and East Bowman Road. It allows for the development of a 205,000 square foot major tenant proposal to be a Walmart Supercenter, a 16 pump fueling station and a 500 square foot building, a 25,000 square foot retail building, and a 5,000 square foot retail building. A complete description of the proposed project, its location, and issues of potential environmental concern are presented in the report. In the case of the proposed project, the analysis presented in this initial study indicates that the mitigation measures included in the plan will reduce all identified potentially significant effects to a level of insignificance. There is no substantial evidence, in light of the whole record before the agency, that the project may have a significant effect on the environment. After the public hearing, the Council will decide on the plan. Next, they'll have a public hearing and adopt a resolution of the Ridgecrest City Council certifying the negative declaration prepared for the housing element update as adequate under the California Environmental Quality Act, adopting the updated housing element of the general plan for 2015 to 2023, and directing staff to submit the updated housing element to the state. The housing element is one of 7 mandatory general plan elements required by the state of California. Housing element law mandates that local governments adequately plan to meet the existing and projected housing needs of all economic segments of the community. The city's previous housing element was adopted in 2002 by the City Council and certified by the state during the same year. During the past several months, the City of Ridgecrest has been preparing this housing element update of our general plan. The city has contracted with the consulting firm PMC to assist in the preparation of this 2015-2023 housing element. In order for the housing element to be certified by the state, amendments to the city's zoning ordinance were approved by the City Council on May 6, 2015. They approved a provision permitting emergency shelters within the R3 and R4 multifamily residential districts. They did an amendment to the ordinance section permitting density bonuses, and they had a creation of zoning ordinance section to provide for a reasonable accommodation procedure. On March 24th, the Planning Commission approved PC resolution recommending that the City Council adopt the housing element update. Now the Council has to approve the plan. They'll also adopt a resolution of the Ridgecrest City Council, the Ridgecrest Redevelopment Successor Agency, Ridgecrest Housing Authority, and Ridgecrest Financing Authority for adopting the annual budget for fiscal year 2015-16. They'll be establishing appropriations, estimating revenues, and establishing the policies by which the budget may be and shall be amended. The City Council met beginning June 5, 2015 for a series of budget hearings to review and amend the draft budget for fiscal year 2015-2016. Budget hearings adjourned on June 6, 2015 with direction to staff to bring the final draft budget to the City Council meeting on June 17th for final review and adoption, noting minor revisions recommended during the budget hearings. They'll also adopt a resolution designating the voting delegate for the 2015 League of California Cities Annual Conference. The League's 2015 Annual Conference is scheduled for September 30th through October 2nd in San Jose, California. An important part of the annual conference is the annual business meeting. At this meeting, the league membership considers and takes action on resolutions that establish league policy. In order to vote on the annual business meeting, the City Council must designate a voting delegate. The City may also appoint up to 2 alternate voting delegates, one of whom may vote in the event that the designated voting delegate is unable to serve in that capacity. Now some news from the fairgrounds. The Friends of the Fair community decided to do capital improvements to keep the fairgrounds going and to attract the community to the events. After the June meeting Thursday, Larry Hauser said, "People in the community have a lot of ideas as to what they want to do at the fairgrounds. We wait for Mike's wish list." Desert Empire Fair Chief Executive Officer Mike Lemming's wish list last year was painting Sage Hall on the outside and bringing it up to the standards of the other buildings. Hauser explained they matched funds to do Mesquite Hall, where Friends of the Fair put plastic on the walls to improve the look and durability of the bathrooms. Another part of Lemming's wish list became the backflow valve. Without the backflow water valve, the water would flow backwards and could cause contaminants to flow back into the water supply. Regarding what they do and don't do, Hauser said, "We don't pay for equipment or anything like that. It has to be something that permanently improves fairgrounds, like the backflow valve, to keep the fairgrounds going, and without it, which they would have to shut the fairgrounds down, including the RV park and all events on the fairgrounds." Hauser said Friends of the Fair paid for construction of the horse stalls and corrals in the livestock area when Earl Powers was the Chief Executive Officer of the fairgrounds. When asked about other projects Friends of the Fair have sponsored, Hauser said, "We've paid for all kinds of stuff, including walkie-talkies and computers." The Friends of the Fair paid for construction of ceilings to cover beams in both Joshua Hall and Mesquite Hall. We provided fans for the livestock arena where livestock are. Aside from painting Sage Hall, they paid for the Sage Hall kitchen and built storage buildings for chairs and tables. They provided a concrete walkway at the park entrance. Larry Hauser has been Friends of the Fair president since 2004. He said Friends of the Fair are always looking for new members and said they always have a lot of fun. We at KZGN congratulate the Friends of the Fair for the fine job they are doing to help maintain the fairgrounds. Stay tuned for today's KZGN Talking Points editorial after the break. Welcome back. It's now time for the 51st KZGN News Talking Points editorial. Was the first City Council Town Hall effective? But first, a couple comments received about the last editorial titled, "Should you have to wait to purchase a gun when you need it for self-defense?" Susie commented, "I think the 10-day waiting period is ample time, and I agree, there should be a waiting period." Harry said, "A federal court has found that the 10-day waiting period in California violates the Second Amendment of the Constitution." With that said, let me ask you this, Susie. Should law-abiding owners who already own handguns or long guns have the 10-day waiting period applied to them? If you think the answer is yes, what is the logic behind that? Also, if you need a gun for self-defense, as in the example cited in the editorial, and you are a law-abiding citizen of sound mind, what is the logic behind that? It costs this woman her life. Those were Harry's comments. Well, Susie, as Harry stated, the 10-day cooling off period is useless when a person already owns a gun. Again, the intent of the cooling off period is to stop a person from acting in a fit of rage to go out, buy a gun, and come back and kill someone. If they already have a gun, a cooling off period is useless. And as in the example in the news story in the editorial, here was a woman that did everything she could in accordance to all the laws, and she wound up dead because of the anti-gun ideology. When a person needs a gun for protection, they should be allowed to get one, assuming they are legally allowed to purchase one, of course. And now on today's editorial titled, "Was the first City Council Town Hall effective?" Well, I believe it was a good first step. It was well run by Cedric Knight. It started with discussion with the people. That is what is important, involving the people. While about 60 people attended, we need more. Through the meeting, many ideas and complaints were voiced. Many speakers polled the audience to get a feeling of who was in the meeting. It was pointed out that the Navy at China Lake did not have a representative attending. I don't know why. This may have been an oversight on the part of the city. Maybe there was a lack of coordination between the city and the Navy. I know in past years the Navy has at times weighed in on things the city was doing concerning economic development. Maybe the Navy didn't know the town hall was happening. If that's the case, the mayor must make sure that the Navy is invited to all future discussions on economic development. Again, I don't know if they were specifically invited by the city. If they weren't, they should be. What wasn't interesting is the poll from a speaker asking for all those that don't work at, never worked at, and never will work at the base to raise their hands. The results of that request was surprising. Approximately 75% of the people raised their hands. Very interesting. It shows that there is interest in economic development. 60 people attending a town hall is a good turnout. It really is. But what was lacking was specific ideas for economic development. I was unable to attend this meeting, but one area I suggest is a focus on making Ridgecrest the center for shopping in the Eastern Sierra. Stu Witt suggested helping existing local businesses before looking for just new businesses. This too is a good idea. Anyway, economic development has to be multifaceted. There is not just one solution. All avenues need to be pursued, and maybe all at the same time. Bringing in new business is important and necessary to promote diversity. Helping existing businesses expand and add jobs is important. Promoting tourism and to bring in new dollars is important. Attracting shoppers to Ridgecrest instead of letting them go to other areas to shop is important to helping local business. As a local business owner, I have experimented with this concept. I have brought my research to a number of movers and shakers in the city and just been blown off. I know what works and doesn't work on a small scale, but now someone needs to step it up and make it a city effort. I know even we do not have everything that shoppers need and can't compete with large cities, but I know for a fact that all the cities around us, from Mammoth Lakes and Bishop down to Mojave to Lake Isabel and Detrona, the people that live in these cities do come here and shop. My main emphasis has been getting the people from Mammoth and the entire Eastern Sierra region in Inyo County to come down here to shop. And they do come here. But the city could do more to encourage these people to come here. When you consider that Bishop and Mammoth and North decide to shop up here or go north to Reno, we need them to come here and not go north to Reno. And this is not an expensive endeavor like providing a new business hundreds of thousands of dollars to start up here. I will again try and bring this forward as something for the city to consider. We'll see what happens. The only complaints I have to the town hall at this point was calling for a 2-minute limit for speakers. And I'd like to hear solutions to ideas. Not just complaints, but what should be done to solve the problem. While the 2-minute limit really wasn't enforced, but discussion of this topic takes time. Sometimes it can take 2 minutes just to lay out a concept, let alone a solution. I would encourage everyone out there, even if you didn't attend the town hall, you can still contribute. Send Mayor Breeden or the council members an email, or call any of them. Voice your opinions, be heard. If you have an idea, now is not the time to just be talking to your fellow workers. Talk to the city. Real solutions are needed. In conclusion, economic development is important. It is important to the city, the Navy, and the people that live here. Stay tuned for the next town hall. And finally, participate. Provide your comments. I'm Tom Whitnick, and that's what I think. I'd like to know what you think. If you have any comments about this editorial or would like to discuss or recommend a topic, I'd like to hear from you. Please email them to info@kzgn.net. Stay tuned for weather and sports after the break. Thanks for staying with us. Let's go to Keith for the weather.
Thank you, Tom. From the National Weather Service, Tropical Storm Bill is approaching the Texas coast with winds as high as 60 miles per hour or higher. The primary threat from Tropical Storm Bill is heavy rainfall leading to widespread flash flooding through midweek across Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, and Illinois. Rainfall amounts are expected to be 4 to 8 inches in eastern Texas and eastern Oklahoma, with isolated amounts of 12 inches possible. Temperatures across the nation. Massachusetts came in at 65, Carolinas 97, Georgia 89, Kansas 73, Montana 64, Idaho 76, Utah 83, Arizona 98, San Francisco 60 degrees, and Los Angeles came in at 67. For us in the IWV, our local forecast for the week: tonight will be clear with a low around 67, breezy with a south-southwest wind, 10 to 20 miles per hour with gusts as high as 30. Wednesday will be sunny and hot with a high near 105, southwest wind 5 miles per hour. Wednesday night, mostly clear with a low around 69, west wind 5 to 15 miles per hour with gusts as high as 20. Thursday will be sunny and hot with a high near 105, light and variable wind south-southwest 5 to 10 miles per hour. Thursday night, clear with a low around 70, breezy with the west wind 15 to 20 miles per hour, winds can get as high as 30. Friday will be sunny and hot with a high near 104, west-northwest wind 5 miles per hour. Friday night, clear with a low around 69, west wind 5 to 15 miles per hour with gusts as high as 20. And that is your local forecast. Now back to Tom and the rest of your KZGN News.
Thanks, Keith. Let's go to Tom Heck for sports.
And a very pleasant Tuesday afternoon to everyone. And tonight, the NBA Championship game number 6, Cleveland and Golden State. That game being played in Cleveland. If Golden State can win that game, they would win the series 4-2. They would have their first NBA championship since 1975. So we'll see what happens with that one. NHL, it's over now. The Blackhawks defeat Tampa Bay. They win 2-0 last night in Chicago. They win the series in 6 games. It is the third time in the last 6 years that the Blackhawks have won the NHL. First time, though, they've been able to clinch at home in Chicago. They win at the United Center. All right, the Angels on a 2-game slide now after a sweep against what I thought was a pretty good Detroit team. The Angels now are back at 500. They lose to Arizona last night. They lose 7-4 at home. Arizona has now won 4 games in a row. They swept the Giants this past weekend up in the Bay Area. So right now, Arizona starting to show signs. They're only a couple games under 500 after a horrid start this year. Angels in Arizona tonight at the Big A. Then, oddly enough, the two teams will travel to Phoenix to play Wednesday and Thursday before the Angels come back to California, go to the Bay Area, and play against the A's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Angels now 4.5 games out of first place. They're in third place in the American League West. The Houston Astros lead the Angels by 4.5 games. They lead Texas by 2.5 games. The Rangers won last night. They beat the Dodgers in Arlington. And Houston won also at home. They beat Colorado 6-3. The Astros now have won 2 straight after losing 7 straight. All right. Tonight also Oakland, San Diego. San Diego trying to win the second game of the series. San Diego lost 2 of 3 to the Dodgers over the weekend. Plus they lost their manager, Bud Black. He was fired on Monday as the coach of the Padres. He was there for 9 years. Former Angel pitching coach, former Major League player, and had a record of about under 80 games under 500, so tough go for Bud Black. Dave Roberts, former Dodger, former Padre, has been named the interim head coach for the Padres. He's currently their bench coach until they find someone else. So a couple managers already fired before the month of June is already over. Orioles win last night. They beat the Phillies. Boy, the Phillies are really struggling. They're now 23 games under 500. Detroit beat Cincinnati. And the Marlins beat the Yankees 2-1. Alex Rodriguez close to his 3,000th hit. He'll probably do that sometime in the next 3 or 4 games. All right, let's talk about the Clippers. They trade Spencer Hawes and Matt Barnes to the Hornets. They get Lance Stevenson, a very talented guard, in exchange. Hawes really never did fit in with the Clippers. He's a great shooter, but just a numbers game. And Matt Barnes, kind of a journeyman, played for the Lakers and we'll see how he does in his new uniform with the Hornets. College World Series, a heartbreaker yesterday for Cal State Fullerton. They play tonight, elimination game. They play against LSU tonight. They lost a 4-3 game to Vanderbilt. It was a suspended game. They started it Sunday night. The rains came and they had to switch pitchers and a lot of other things. But Vanderbilt ends up with a walk-off home run, 3-run home run in the ninth inning to beat the Titans 4-3. TCU will also challenge Vanderbilt tonight in the winners bracket. One team already eliminated. Miami beat Arkansas on Monday night 4-3. So the Razorbacks are out of the tournament. World Cup, the women in action today. They'll actually be playing tonight against Nigeria, and we'll see how far the women can get in the World Cup. That's your sports for this Tuesday. I'm Tom Heck for KZGN.
So that's the news for today. All of us at KZGN-TV know you have a choice in what you watch for your news. We all thank you for choosing us, KZGN-TV, Ridgecrest's only community-owned TV station. Now stay tuned for a video of a great youngsters shooting exhibition.
The shooter has indicated ready. Stand by.